of Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea is located on the west coast of Central Africa with an area of 28,000 square kilometers. As you can see in the map above, this country had a few neighboring countries like Cameroon, Nigeria, and Gabon. This country had 8 provinces which are Annobon, Biako Norte, Biako Sur, Central Sul, Kitem, Littoral, Welenas, and Dijbloho. Equatorial Guinea gained independence from Spain on year 1968 on October 20. On the independence time, Equatorial Guinea had one of the highest per capita incomes and highest literacy rates in Africa. This country got their first president, Francisco Macias Nukma, who served from the country's independence in 1968 until his overthrow in 1979. On August 3, in year 1979, the second and the latest president was appointed, which is Teodoro Obiang Nukma Baksogo. Demography of Equatorial Guinea. Based on the Westminster website, the total population that currently exists is approximately around 1,580,210 people, which are composed of the different gender. The total number of men is estimated to be about 806,649 people, and the total number of women as much as 643,242 people. The death rate for the year 2022 so far is about 8.95% deaths, and the birth rate is 32.3%. Equatorial Guinea ranks number 153 in the list of countries and reliance by population.
I'm going to tell about the language, speaks, religion, and culture. The official language used in Equatorial Guinea is Spanish, and the secondary language are French, as well as Portuguese. The religion of the country are 88.7% Christianity, 5.0% non-religion, 4.0% Islam, and last but not least is 1.0% traditional faith. Equatorial Guinea is known for traditional sculpture and mask making that has been made by one of the most famous sculpture. Besides that, their traditional food is usually dominated by sauce made from local ingredient, which is peanut and the meat of native animal. Turtle is also occasionally used. This country also famous with a ballet group and traditional music that use xylophone, drums, and so on. Not to forget, folk music is also famous as well. The design of this flag is horizontal tricolor of green, white and red with a blue isosceles triangle based off the Hoi side and the national coat of arms of Equatorial Guinea center in the white band. The feature of symbolize the natural resource, agriculture and jungles of the culture. Blue symbolize the sea, which connect the mainland with the island. White symbolize peace. Red symbolize the blood shed by the fighter for independence. Equatorial Guinea's country also had their own flag, which consists of various colors such as red, white, green, blue, as well as 6 yellow stars and 3 symbols. The flag's motto is Unidad, Paz, Justicia, in Spanish, or known as Unity, Peace, Justice in English. The flag of Equatorial Guinea was adopted on 1968. The 6 stars on the map represent the country mainland and 5 islands.
Economic data. For information, above is a diagram of national income of Equatorial Guinea. The national income of gross domestic product (GDP) is 12.27 billion, 8,462.3 billion per capita and growth with annual rate -0.09%. Equatorial Guinea GNI per capita for 2021 was 5,810 billion, a 0.17% increase from 2020. Besides that, Equatorial Guinea GNI per capita for 2020 was 5,800 billion, a 6.23% decline from 2019, as well as GNI per capita for 2019 was 6,322 billion and a 6.09% decline from 2018. Equatorial Guinea GNI per capita for 2018 was 6,730 billion, a 3.58% increase from 2017. The currency of Equatorial Guinea. The peseta was the currency of Equatorial Guinea from 1969 to 1975. It replaced the Spanish peseta at par shortly after gaining independence from Spain the prior year and was later replaced again at par by the equale. So as you can see, these were aluminium bronze, 1 equale and copper nickel 5 and 10 equale denominations. In 1980 and 1981, one of 1 equale, 5, 25 and 50 equale were issued, replacing the previous coins which were then withdrawn from circulation.
The type of inflation that happened in this country is cost-push inflation. This type of inflation occurs when an increase in the cost of production decreases the aggregate supply, resulting in a price increase. For example, inflation rate for year 2020 in Equatorial Guinea increased 3.53% from year 2019, which is 4.77% according to the increasing in consumer price. Besides that, in the long term, inflation rate of Equatorial Guinea is projected to trend around 6.30% in 2023 and 4.80% in 2024 due to our econometric models. In this country, the inflation rate for measure a broad rise or fall in price that consumers pay for a standard of baskets of goods.
Factors that lead to demand pull inflation in Equatorial Guinea. Demand pull inflation causes upward pressure on price due to shortage in supply. In the past, Equatorial Guinea had been one of the fastest growing economies in Africa after the discovery of large oil reserves in the 1990s. The country is classified as upper middle income by the World Bank and has one of the highest income per capita in sub-Saharan Africa. Since 2015, and the fallout of COVID-19 is expected to maintain GDP grow in negative territory in 2020. As a result of trade restriction in the context of COVID-19, food prices are expected to increase, but the overall inflation will continue at 3% in 2020. The decline in oil price and lower domestic output are expected to affect negatively the fiscal and current account balance, as the country continues to be heavily dependent on oil revenue and food import. This caused the high demand for oil that cannot be met by this country and the occurrence of demand pull inflation.
So, let's move forward to the effect from inflation to an individual society country in Equatorial Guinea. The definition of inflation refers to an increases in prices which over time result in a loss of buying power. The average price rise of a selection of products and services over time can serve as a proxy for the pace at which buying power declines. A unit of currency essentially buy less as a result of the increase in pricing, which is sometimes stated as a percentage. Deflation, which happens when prices fall and buying power rises, can be compared to inflation. So, for the effect of the inflation toward the society is it hurts the poor disproportionately. This is said because, in comparison to consumers with higher incomes, those with lower incomes typically spend a higher percentage of their total income on necessities. As a result, they have less of safety nets against the loss of purchasing power brought on by inflation. This is what
Economists mean when they say that a higher marginal propensity to consume is correlated with lower incomes. So, lastly, for the effect of inflation toward the country is it raises interest rates. Inflation and interest rate frequently follow one another. Central banks can reduce price pressure caused by the economy's animal spirits or risk appetite by increasing interest rate when inflation increases. The projected monthly payments for the yacht or the corporate bond issue for a new expansion project suddenly appear to be a bit excessive. In the meanwhile, newly issued treasury bonds will often offer higher risk-free rates of return, rewarding savings.
For the indicator, we provide data for Equatorial Guinea from 1991 to 2021. The average value for Equatorial Guinea during that period was 8.63% with a minimum of 8.13% in 1991, and the maximum in 2020 is 9.9%. The latest value from 2021 is 9.24%. For comparison, the world average in 2001 based on 181 countries is 8.46%. C. The global ranking for that indicator or use the country comparator to compare trends over the time. The unemployment rate in Equatorial Guinea and other countries is defined as the number of unemployed people as percent of the labor force. The labor force includes the people who are either employed or unemployed. For example, who don't have a job but are actively looking for one. The labor force does not include people who are not looking for work, children, and the retired. And next, the unemployment rate seldom declines below 4 to 5% even during boom times. There are always people who move between different country or sector of the economy or between cities. When the economy goes into recession, then unemployment can reach much higher numbers, and also sometimes even in the double digits. For types or source of unemployment happen in Equatorial Guinea is structural unemployment. Structural unemployment happens when the skill set of a workers does not match the skills demanded by the jobs available, or alternatively when workers are available but are unable to reach the geographical location of the jobs. And the majority of roles for highly skilled individuals come in the form of oil and gas work. The country has underdeveloped education and healthcare system, or anyone working in the country is advised to ensure they have insurance and access to provide their private provisions. For social living is limited, and the population generally has a very low level of income, resulting in reduced social activity too. Next, we're moving to Equatorial Guinea for not advice prior to obtaining an offer of employment. Factor that leads or contribute is structural unemployment, and it happened in the country which is Equatorial Guinea, has other largely unexploited human and natural resources, including a tropical climate, fertile soil, rich expanse of water, deep water port, and untapped, if unskilled, source of labor. Following independence in 1968, the country suffered under a repressive dictatorship for 11 years, which devastated the economy. The agricultural industry, once renowned for producing the highest quality cocoa, has never fully recovered. Equatorial Guinea produced in 36,160 tons of highly priced cocoa in 1969, but in 2000 only 4,800 tons were produced. During this time, coffee production likewise fell sharply until rising to 1,000 100,000 metric tons in 2000. After all, timber is the primary source of foreign cash, accounting for around 12.4% of all export revenue from 1969 to 1999.
So, let's move forward and discuss the effect from unemployment toward individuals, society, country in Equatorial Guinea. So, the definition of unemployment is when those who want to work but can't find a job. There is unemployment which reduces economic production. An extremely low unemployment rate may indicate an overheated economy, whereas a high unemployment rate is an indication of economic strain. There are several types of underemployment including frictional, cyclical, structural, and institutional. Government agencies use a variety of methods to gather and report unemployment data. As long as the safety-specific criteria, several countries provide unemployment insurance to jobless people. The effect of unemployment towards individual is it reduces income. As a direct result of being unemployed people have lower income. Because of job pays the person wages, losing that job reduces the person available income. People who are unemployed and have no other source of income frequently borrow money or use their savings to pay for necessities like food and living expenses. People who are the primary provider for their family and are unemployed face additional challenges because they must find the funds to cover both their own needs and those of their family members. So let's move forward. The effect of unemployment towards society is their mental health. Mental health issues include low self-esteem, feeling unworthy, depression, and hopelessness. The recently unemployed may adopt negative attitude toward everyday things in life and may feel as though they have no purpose in life as a result of the lost income and the frustration that come with it. Low self-esteem, feel indicated, dejected, and hopeless could be frequent emotions. So lastly, the effect of unemployment toward the country is the increases in poverty. Guinea has one of the youngest population in the world, with more than 74% of the population aged below 30. Under the age situation of unemployment, a man has no source of income. Unemployment causes poverty, burden of debt increases, and economic problem increases.